So, okay, Adi, for this first speakers.
Okay. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. And Pak Sendra, thank you, Pak Edi. I think it's like kind of an honor for me to address a really important issue for all of us. First of all, I would like to extend that the aim for the meeting or for the sharing session today is quite important, particularly on, I would like to emphasize on the FinTech as a pathways toward Indonesia and ASEAN digital economy. I would like to ask you, how many of you have ever touched this technology? Yeah, so I believe you must be familiar with Catatan Siboy, Ongki Alexander, and Paramita Rusadi. So sorry for the A plus and B plus, probably that you aware about that person. But actually this is the, simply would like to bring to us to the past. You know, there is time for technology. And when we use this technology, actually that also ruining the previous business process in the past. So I was trained as the programmer for Ministry of Finance, COBOL programmer and device and Foxball. Technology, or we use the term of the, please press another, yeah, with the previous, yeah. So there was a sign on the left side that I already put. You know, first of all, technology will shape the business process. So I entered to the, the business process of the Ministry of Finance when we transfer from the paper-based towards more transfer the remuneration using technology. So initially we just schedule it on 1 month. Actually, in reality, it took 1 year for the shaping process from using paper-based towards more, online and more using technology. And when currently I joined with the Transformation Office of the Ministry of Finance, technology or application, this must be developed in a big, helicopter view at first. So I will propose the term of architecture, enterprise architecture mindset. So what is enterprise architecture mindset? It's actually how to link between the application with the vision, with the strategy. So if you use technology or if you rely on the people who are taking care of technology on a daily basis, it can be happening very easy. You develop many and many applications in your business processes. It can end with the confusion because you will see and witness the jungle of software or application, in the business. So that's the aim for the discussion today. I would like to, how to bring along the concept. If we would like to aim for the improvement of the technology to proceed or to have the efficiency in enterprise level, and how we can use technology, especially in the financial sector, to aim the best value for the organization or the nation as a whole. That's the main aim of our discussion today. Next. So what is FinTech? And how ASEAN economy and potential can be fit into the potential outcome for the FinTech in the whole economy. And how then we can propose what we currently aim and struggle for is the framework, how the regulation can improve or can enable us to support the digital economy or contribute to the GDP of Indonesia or even in ASEAN. Next. First of all, what is FinTech? There are many, currently came up as the reference for FinTech. And I would like to propose Indonesia should have kind of a term of reference or framework. But in reality, there are so many, terms for FinTech. I really like the shocking one, which is FinTech can be a disruption for traditional financial services. Not to mention that we really aim to be FinTech as part of the engine for the growth, economic growth of Indonesia. But to be honest, if you're not ready, FinTech can be a winning of business. FinTech in the 21st century, they really established, improvement significantly in the way we do business, we trade, and even we make the innovation like the, if you ask a government official like me, what is crypto, currencies, what is Bitcoin, probably we kind of, a bit hesitant, to be honest with you. We are really a bit lag behind in terms of thinking ahead on how to prepare ourselves as part of the framework, developing framework for better, use of the financial technology in the economy. But to be sure, now is really important discussion. Probably it's not claimed as official or really big event, but I think this is really important in the sense that we are, you and I, this is part of the thinking study in Indonesia. How that we, Indonesia or even ASEAN, can be significantly contribute to the development of the framework when we use, when we'd like to use FinTech as part of the engine for the economic growth. Next. Investment in FinTech around the world is increasing significantly, as you can mention here. Almost more than 10 or even 12, investment. And several businesses currently, you already probably aware about, Gojek, Uber, B&B. And even now, when people are just trying to shift their business towards more online type of business, FinTech is part of it. That is the engine. That is the, the substance of the process of the change. Next. How FinTech is changing your business in ASEAN? Actually, the most of the key of the process that we really, witness in this whole transformation, of the business towards more, digital economy is how we really currently make the startup or even small medium enterprise or even individual enter the business. You can, in the past, it's very difficult for us to get loan from the bank, and even it would be very difficult for us to, insert a credit card mode of payment in our businesses. And it would be requires more, investment in bulky equipment, comply with the regulation. But now FinTech is quite, exactly make it easier for everyone to even start and run business from home. Next. What is FinTech contribution, especially in ASEAN? Very soon, and I think it's now, people use their phone anywhere. 5 years ago, I already visited ATO. ATO deployed almost 600, programmers and system to develop their system, tax system in Australia, comply to the way, youngsters or millennials use their gadget. And it will be very easy for you to pay taxes, even use your gadget. Now phone is everywhere. And we, sooner or later, or at least probably even next week, people start to ask, if you're not using smartphone, you're already obsolete. And business as well, you have a big risk of losing business if you don't comply or catch up with the progress of the development of this process. Opportunities in the terms of the winning the market and customer share that become everybody's business. Next. And how FinTech is changing your customer in ASEAN. FinTech is also actually already and now entered to our backyard, even from front yard, in changing the behavior and expectation in tremendous rate, which is now information is everywhere, access data is everywhere. When you're late in trying to make report, even your customers already know that you are lying. Last time I already got a complaint from one of the capital market practitioners when they complain about the listing of the companies. You cannot anymore, you must have the information at first hand. It can be not from your organization, it can be anywhere. So that will be, the request, and the seamless mobile experience kind of must do, and understanding in every single part of the practitioners in the banking, capital market, and financial sector. Next. I would like to do it fastly because I will share this information to you, but FinTech benchmarks enormous. This was, I used it from Deloitte. Until 2020, the growth of this business can be 55% per year. Our growth is currently at 6%. but FinTech is way above. Next. What we get, the FinTech taxonomy. So this is our homework. What I mean by the regulatory framework for Indonesia, it's part of our task is how then we to define common term and statement that we can use it, together. Next. And this is the practitioners. There's many. I think Indonesia. I will ask probably our expert from Kominfo or even OJK to also explain about Indonesia practitioners. This is from Europe, I think. Next. And in ASEAN, I just would like to ask to focus on our potential. Indonesia currently in Asian bank penetration and capitalization is quite low compared to other Asian countries, even though our GDP base is now currently already 16 best in the world, 11,000 trillion. But now, our loan to GDP is only 35%. That means, I think there's a great potential for us to, enable us to have more and potential to create more growth as well. Deposit to GDP is only 41%. Not to mention capital market capitalization. We are the lowest in the region. Even Malaysia, they can have 141% capital market capitalization. So it's quite bad news, but it's quite a challenge for us, and also opportunity if you like to develop Indonesia more and more seriously towards global economy. Next. Indonesia's economy outlook, I get from Minister of Finance, probably I would like to emphasize a bit more on taxation. The growth of us is the biggest, third biggest growth in G20. But actually, I would like to also emphasize behind this. Even Pak Khatib Basri mentioned, Indonesia is the least unattractive country in Asia. That means the most attractive one, isn't it? But in fact, next, our tax ratio is quite low, even compared to ASEAN. With Philippines, we are quite even. According to OECD, we are at the level of 14%, but according to World Bank and IMF, probably we just only at 11%. Last time, the Minister of Finance stated, how if we try to pursue our compliance and tax bureau towards more 16%? South Korea currently is 19% with its digital economy. So the question is, can we as the FinTech practitioner support the digital economy in Indonesia to also to support the potential for us to have more capital, more improvement in compliance and tax income, so we can use more our capital to support the development infrastructure. In fact, if you can see on the left side, the challenge is there because Indonesia will enjoy what we call it the demographic dividend. But 70% or 40% of our youngsters, they are just only graduated from primary school. On average, our education, probably like level 3. So there are enormous tasks for us to still, to develop the foundation in education, health, something like that. And infrastructure as well. We have committed to 5,000 trillion expenditure in infrastructure. And our state budget, we can only support 40%. So enormous opportunity for businesses, private sector, to contribute to the development of this infrastructure for the development of Indonesia as a whole. Next. People. So the, please go back. Yeah. So with this fact, Indonesia is committing by 2030 or 2045 from 16 biggest companies, biggest GDP in the world, we will aim for 7 or even 5th best or biggest GDP in the world by 2030 or 2045. So the opportunity is there. PwC, they already released the report. When we do the transformation, the potential, the opportunity for us to become the best fifth economy in the world, it can be happening earlier, 2030 or something like that. Next. So ASEAN potential and challenges. We have 10 members countries or 50 and on our fifth anniversary this year. And we have 630 million population. I think still less than the Czech and China. Yeah. Next 15 years, we will be added another 120 million inhabitants. And we still have the greatest power of the people. The world youngest population is in ASEAN, 50% in Philippines and around 50% in Indonesia. And ASEAN will have 125 million plus by 2025. Next. In 2016, ASEAN has 260 million internet users. This is really strong. But third or fourth online courses still ask to pay in cash. So there's still an opening opportunity. Asia Pacific accounted for 40% global commerce sales in Q1 2017, but most of them goes to China, India, Australia, not in Southeast Asia. This is big question. Even though Indonesia customer preference survey noted that 92% of the people they prefer to do online transaction. So it's big improvement from last year. Yeah. Next. So the biggest Facebookers, Indonesia, I think it's really amazing. Since 2012, yeah. And then our total population already was 256. But look, active internet users is 132 million. And even mobile connection, if you find two people, three of them, you will find, smartphones. With, 1.5, probably one or two people will have three, something like that. And I think the use of the mobile internet is for hours. So this is enormous. Smartphone users, 95 million. This is far more than our taxpayers who pay taxes, just only 30 million. So this is really great opportunity for us. Next. But Indonesian public sector, this is what I noted from my study. We really enjoy structural problem. I don't know why I need to state it as enjoy, because this kind of system. So that's why Minister of Finance now developed what we call it Central Transformation Office, because change must be even from the top and also come from the bottom. So that will be, everyone need to think about that. Lack of strategic thinking, poor HR practices, weak accountability for performance, poor governance and lack of customer stakeholders. That's almost, at the same time, currently happen in the public sector. So we must fight with this. So I can assure you, not everyone in the public sector really enjoy it. That's why we would like to have all of us as part of the agent of change. So the Minister of Finance quite frankly said, you have to have fire in your belly to do the reform in your organization. And I would like to pass this on to everyone. Indonesia, Indonesia should compete. Indonesia should aware that we have great potential to make FinTech as part of the engine for the development. Next, to develop, the infrastructure budget. We still have really lacking in terms of the contribution. So my last point, probably next, I would like probably this is the development of, the commitment on the reform still with the Minister of Finance. Next. So this is fifth or seventh of this initiative, new initiative, are directly with FinTech. I can assure you. First, no, before please. Yeah. This is 20 initiative that currently Minister of Finance focus. First of all, retail selling on sovereign bond. We will invite FinTech players to be part of it. Used to be, we sell a bond in the bond, and it pays bureaucracy cost a lot more. Now we would like to share it individually. So we will like to encourage, FinTech practitioners to be participating our bonds, national bonds. Yeah, sell. Next. So this is what the strategic thinking. Next, I would like to touch on our role currently CTO as part of the Indonesia planning team for IMF World Bank. Next, please. So the endowment fund, I will share it to you directly. There's better link in the neutral performance. Yeah. this is the framework how we would like to propose to the minister and to the organization, even in private and public. We would like to develop what we call future state process business using the enterprise architecture governance. So meaning, we will not just rely on technology, but we will aim for better vision. So if you would like to grab, Indonesia potential to be part of the biggest economy in the world, and using finance and fintech as part of the engine to make us able to do that, we use enterprise architecture at Ministry of Finance and at national. So that's what we, Alvin also, we closely discuss about this, how then we can, develop kind of framework for better Indonesia in the future. Next. So last but not least, this is from Indonesian Ministry of Finance points of view. The engine is basically, we would like to improve our what we call it integrated financial management information system. We have 11 echelon 1, but currently, to be honest with you, we still develop kind of silo. But with system, we will enable them to think about the integrated way of thinking to support the economy. Next. So this is how just next, yeah, this one. I would like to convey and probably kind of proclaim the opportunity. Currently, I CTO is part of the Indonesia planning team to host, the annual meeting for 2018. Indonesia won the bidding in 2014. So that means 189 countries, Governor Central Bank, and also Ministry of Finance will join the meeting. So the meeting itself with stakeholders can involve 15,000 people. So what is importance with this? Next. We already developed what we call it, the support to make this happen. So the meeting itself will be consisted of two, between the main event, which is IMF and World Bank things, and the side event. And the side event, we will propose FinTECH or digital economy will be part of one of the most, important discussions inside event of the IMF World Bank next year in Bali. So beforehand, this kind of type discussion can be kind of the pathways, the voyage to Indonesia towards presenting the concept, presenting the framework, presenting any concern to develop, sound policy in terms of financial stability, prudential, conduct, personal conduct for financial practitioners, and also competitiveness, and development. Okay. So I would like to ask, for this opportunity to be part of this. Yeah. I think this will end our discussion. Thank you.
Some of the slides already, I'm quite happy that some of the slides already presented by artists, so I can skip and talk in other things. Okay, next. I want to cover actually my presentation about the current situation in Indonesia and this global trend related with the e-commerce and fintech. And the next one is what kind of government policy, particularly related with my Ministry of Communication, Information Technology to support e-commerce and fintech. And the last one is I try to explain maybe several issues related with the regulation in fintech. Next. Could you skip this one? Yes. There are next. Yes, I already mentioned. Yes. Just a little bit different. Actually, why we are not quite happy with the progress, the growth of e-commerce in Indonesia? Because compared to the ASEAN member countries, we are lagging behind. We are like behind of Malaysia, we are like behind of Singapore, of course Singapore, Thailand, maybe Philippines. As we can see here actually, the growth of internet users in Indonesia is quite astonishing, yeah, 11.3, quite good. So more and more people, young people in Indonesia got the internet access actually. But unfortunately, I got the data about 2 years ago, but maybe not yet updated. But the progress, the growth of the e-commerce compared to the retail, very low. On average, 0.9%. But I believe that in the last few years and the next few years will going rapidly. So this is a huge potential for us, for Indonesia, as we are the 45% of the population, I think, of the ASEAN are located here, live here. Next. And this is another profile, very interesting. Actually, I got this data, this slide from the Ibu Mari Pangestu. Ibu Mari Pangestu is very interested in the creative economy and e-commerce. Very interesting, but I don't know, maybe my colleagues from Ministry of Finance or OJK have the more correct figures back here, but very impressive that only 36% of adult population in Indonesia got the financial access. 50% still sending remittance through non-bank. I remember then when I have my college study in other countries, many our immigrants, workers, work in Saudi or in Korea. Normally, when they send their money to their parents, they just give the money to their friends when they return to Indonesia. Just like that. Actually, it is prohibited with the regulation. But they do that because they don't like the bank charge a lot for the transfer of the money. So this is actually a huge potential for FinTech. The other thing I think I don't want to explain one by one, but only 7% use an account to receive wage in the last year. Let me just very simple example. As a government employee, some of my allowance also give cash, not through bank account. That is very strange actually. If I have my colleagues from Mandiri, maybe they know that for the expenditure for the traveling, they give my office give me in cash. So there are many opportunities for us to increase the potential in e-commerce and FinTech. Next. This is a startup. Actually, my Ministry of Kominfo, working to encourage more and more startup growing in Indonesia. Currently, we have only one unicorn. We call it unicorn. It's like horse with a horn in the middle. We only have one indigenous unicorn project. But we expect the next few years, we have another unicorn in FinTech. And by having the good program and with working together with other state enterprise, with the private company, we hope we can create more and more. And here from the speakers, majority of our startup in FinTech are from the payment. Our operator, I think we are familiar with the Telkomsel Cash, compared to from the Indosat. But majority, they working in the area of payment. Some other maybe in comparison, and the others are payment. So I believe that most Indonesian people actually prefer use the FinTech or the application for the payment to purchase the ticket sponsor for traveling, to book the hotel accommodation, etc. Next. And this is same figure, but 32% is for payment. 70% actually for comparison. Next. Now what is a government policy to boost, to encourage the growth of e-commerce and FinTech in Indonesia? Next. Actually, according to our white paper, actually, Indonesian digital economy vision 2020, we want to be the biggest e-commerce market in the Southeast Asia. And by year 2020, 130 billion of e-commerce transactions. We want. I think it's not an issue because we can, if we consider our potential, we can reach. Then we also want to have 1,000 digital technopreneurs, including the FinTech. business valuation around 10 million US dollar, more than 10 million US dollar. Next. And this is, I think, maybe many of my colleagues from the other ministry familiar with this. We have the master roadmap on e-commerce. We already identified there are 7 priority sectors. I'm sorry, I have not have time to translate. Actually, there are education, human resources issue. Then we have to tackle logistics issue, communication infrastructure, cyber security, tax, consumer protection. We are working now to finalize the draft on e-commerce by the Ministry of Trade. So there are 7 priority sectors, and there are 26 action plans. And we want together with other ministry and other private company to realize this. I think Adi just mentioned very important things that we have to leave the silo mentality. Only every ministry working their own is not correct way. Next. And I don't want to, this is a policy regulation related to FinTECH. I will not mention one by one, but next. Actually, there are 3 government institutions in our understanding that related to FinTECH. First, OJK, Financial Service Authority. Actually, their responsibility is to supervise and regulate financial service in Indonesia. There's also Bank Indonesia, our central bank, when we provide general supervision related to finance stability, the use of national currency, etc. And these 2 institutions work in the sectoral issue, but for the case of Kominfo, we are on more technical issue that which we call as IT governance. We want to make sure that all the regulation related with IT are implemented. For example, related with the, it is mandatory that the startup to register particularly because they have their business related with the money, and because they keep the public data related to the users, the customer, etc. etc. Next. And this is related with our information and transaction electronics. That whether they are startup, whether they are over the top, whether they are portal, whether they are search engine, mail service, we call them all of them as an electronic system according to our regulation. It's a set of electronic device to collect, to process, and to transmit information. If only process, you don't transmit and disseminate, you maybe don't need to follow this regulation. But when you process and you send, transmit to other parties, then you have to follow this regulation. Next. And the first issue related to registration. Maybe this looks like a bureaucracy, but it's very like registration because every electronic system provider, including the startup of FinTECH, should register through Ministry of Kominfo with only certain information about general information about what you are, what is where you are, etc. And we want to help startup. You don't want to make a burden for startup. Registration can be conducted, can be done by the association. No need to do individually. Next. And the other issue is about the data confidentiality. Since some of startups keep the information about about the personal data related with our ID, our many related with our identification, they should keep the privacy, confidentiality, integrity as the paramount for the personal data. And every use acquisition of the data should be based on the concern of the users, of the personal data. And this is one another example. Next. And this is one. The other thing is about data storage. We call it data storage localization. It is mandatory in Indonesia actually. If you provide the service, particularly because public service, it is related with the common people who use your application. It is mandatory to store the data in the here Indonesia. The issue is actually the issue is about the law enforcement and the state sovereignty. We cannot actually accept. Your system capture the data about our population, they store it somewhere in the US, something like that. If something happens, there is for law enforcement, there is no guarantee that they will give access to us. Some other developed countries say this is not a good idea because it actually creates a barrier. They say information should be free flow from one country to other countries to create a better and bigger business. But this is our policy, and only a few countries actually. I know China, maybe some China, Indonesia, Mexico, and some not many countries actually. But currently, that's why to avoid this to become burden for the startup or fintech startup, we will make a criteria. What kind of data? It is related to strategic data. It is related with financial data. It is related with the identification of citizens. They should store here, not in other countries. Next. This is about security, quite common. It is the electronic system providers should guarantee security and safety of the operation. Government will decide what kind of strategic electronic data. I already mentioned if it is related with the finance, it is related with citizenship, it should be protected. Next, and maybe the last one. The conclusion is, as the largest economy in ASEAN, so Indonesia has a huge potential. So e-commerce and fintech would grow rapidly in Indonesia. And we already targeted by year 2020 our goals for commerce, and we hope by implementing the roadmap, we hope we could reach the target. And as a fintech in Indonesia, at the early stage of development, we understand that policy regulation to nurture its development are necessary. It is not too much regulation. Light regulation maybe. Thank you for your attention.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me. I'm Retno Astianin, as you don't know. I'm a manager at BI of Bank Indonesia FinTech Office, Financial Technology Office, the newest organization in Bank Indonesia. I am here represent Ibu Eni Fitanggabian, who cannot be here with us. Maybe I will give some a glimpse of FinTech from our perspective. I'm pretty sure that you all in this room that have a GoPay or Gojek, right? An application of financial technology application in your mobile phone. And frankly, that I never stepped in. I haven't stepped in any financial institution branches for the last 3 years because I have my own banking in my phone. And this is the digital revolution from technology that you can see that now we have a lot of applications like GoPay, GoFin, Gojek, Waze. Also we have Modalku, we have also Google, and we can access those applications from our home. You don't need to go out from your home. You can only sit watching TV and you can have all the financial services. Next. And this is the Indonesian overview of the financial access and financial inclusion that sadly that only 36% of the population, adult population in Indonesia are bankable. Next. But India don't have that. We know the user of cell phone is quite high in Indonesia. There are a lot of users of cell phone than bankable person. And what is FinTECH actually? FinTECH is actually a fusion between technology and financial services. A product, better quality of service, lower end prices, and also give efficiency to the financial system. Also, on the other hand, for the economy, they're supporting monetary policy transmission. Next. This is the FinTECH category from the FSB, Financial Stability Board, that also will be regulated by Bank Indonesia. There are 4 categories of FinTECH. They are deposit, lending, and capitalizing, investment and risk management, market support, and also payment clearing and settlement. And this is the financial technology industry in Indonesia. Bank Indonesia actually has identified that there is 118 for FinTECH company that identify to operate in Indonesia with not the majority actually, 42% performing payment, clearing and settlement activity. There are Kudo, Bitcoin, Katuku, Kaspe, Imani from Bank Mandiri. Also Kitabisa, Investri, Travel Life, also Cek Aja. We have also Dompet Sehat, Uang Teman, also Dana Didi. Next. This is the growth forecast by Statista. We are hoping that there is a lot of transaction value for the 2016. This 2016 about 80,000 million USD. Next. This is the risk of FinTECH actually. FinTECH can give, actually FinTECH is small but can give a lot of impact, can give a lot of risk if they are connected to the financial system, like macro risk and micro risk. Next. Here, that is the concern of Bank Indonesia. That is, we want to balance between innovation and also stability. We want to promote innovation in the financial sector, boost the economic growth, but we want to maintain the stability of monetary financial system and give a secure, smooth, efficient payment system. We want also to mitigate the risk and encourage consumer protection. So we want to balance between the innovation, but we want to also mitigate the risk. Next. This is our bank financial technology office that is established in November 2016. This is before. Here we have some roles. This is our roles that as facilitator, also as business intelligence, as assessment and coordination and communication. Bank Indonesia has a program called the Meet the Startup, where every startup can come to Indonesia to consult their business model, their product, the technology, or their services, and we give them consultation. We give this help in every Wednesday and Thursday. So if you have a plan to doing business in FinTECH, please, you are all welcome to Bank Indonesia to consult with us. Next. This is the Bank Indonesia policy actually. Regarding to FinTECH, we have also have a policy, have issued peraturan Bank Indonesia that is related to fintech, such as the card-based payment, also the fund transfer like remittance. We have also the peraturan Bank Indonesia terkait uang elektronik or electronic money. We have also the payment system, payment transaction processing activity. Also, we consider that we have also customer protection in payment system activity, and also we encourage the fintech player also comply to the anti-money laundering. This is our upcoming regulation. Our upcoming regulation, we hopefully that will be issued this month or next month, is about the financial technology. The financial technology is, for us, is something innovative and disruptive. And we hopefully that we can monitor financial technology, all the business of financial technology, and also we can push them to have license or registered to Bank Indonesia or other authorities. In here, we will also present a regulatory sandbox. Next slide. This is our regulatory sandbox. Regulatory sandbox is a safe place where business can experiment their model business, their product, or their services, or their technology in a safe place, but with restriction and limited time. So every startup can come. We are welcome to every startup to come to Bank Indonesia to experiment their product in regulatory sandbox. They come to Bank Indonesia, we will welcome them, and we have the panelists of experts that we will sorry. Then we will push them to the regulatory sandbox. Here in the regulatory sandbox, Bank Indonesia will announce the result. If they fail, they have to stop their business, but if they succeed for the business, then they can go to the license regime and to launch the product to a wider population. Next, this is the end of my presentation.